This week, my invitation to you for generosity is to be generous in prayer and grace and compassion for those with whom we find ourselves in conflict. As I mentioned in the prayer time and at the video at the beginning of service, there was a letter that was hand-delivered. And I don't want to make too much of a deal of it, but it reminded me in that moment that there are those in our community, in our world, who see the work that our church and others are doing, and they see it as counter to the gospel. They see it as ungodly. They see it as doing harm. And it's tempting to want to be dismissive. It's tempting to want to just respond in kind. And so my invitation to all of us is to be in prayer for those who are working against the work that we do, who are trying to undermine the work that we're doing, whether it's speaking up for justice, whether it's making a vocal support, an obvious public support of Black Lives Matter or Indigenous lives or Hispanic Latino lives. There are those who get mad about the work we're doing with the mini trading post and the grocery deliveries. We get those kinds of complaints, and they are relatively minor. But we also know that they represent a larger portion of the community who look at what we're doing with deep skepticism and sometimes anger. So my invitation to generosity is that this week we might just pray for those folks. We're called always to pray for those who are opposed to us, but this week especially, it's been a good reminder for me that we might need to be especially attentive to that. In a time of fear and anxiety in our community and our culture, that kind of stuff is going to always surface. So prayers for people who are acting out of anxiousness, acting out of fear, that we might act with grace and compassion for all of them. So that's the invitation for a generous life this week. And again, thank you as always for your financial support and all the other things that you do, the time and commitment that you pour into the life and ministry of this congregation.